RZR 1000S Recall. This is going to be the heat shield replacement on the RZR 1000S. Is the only thing that is required on the Recall is these two heat shields. I know there's other parts, fuel vent and voltage regulator on some of the other models, but this Recall is fairly simple. I'm just going to kind of go through the parts real quick, see what they might have changed. Just at first glance, it looks like the main difference is going to be the shape of the actual heat pan. It looks like they may be trying to funnel liquid. I'll actually check the thickness of this, but it appears to be the same. And this is, according to the instructions, I'm going to look and see. But it looks like you have to take apart quite a bit to actually get this on. It looks like you have to remove the bed and the rear panel behind the seats, which all in all isn't too difficult a task, but it is a lot of torque spits. This shield actually goes behind the seat. It does look like a different design, or at least maybe even a different material. The old heat shield isn't as dimpled as this heat shield is. Thickness wise, I mean, just visually looking at it, looks like the same. This is the bed shield. As you can see, there's no lip. I mean, on this unit there's a full lip, in this unit there's not, and looks like the same on the front. So I'm going to take a look at this and see how hard or easy this is to get off and get started. Okay, this is the first step for installing it. Basically, we're going to be taking off this piece. We're going to remove the torque screws on this side. You should already have the seats removed. And there's a set of torque screws here, here in the center, over on the sides. And just in case you try to start this project yourself, I highly recommend getting one of these. This is a T40 bit. This T40 pretty much fits all of the bolts except for the heat shield. All the plastic components mostly are T40. They're big. This will save you a lot of time. There's a lot of them. In order to get this center section out, you're going to want to pull it up and out towards the cab of the RZR. It'll kind of make this motion. It'll seem like it won't want to go, but it'll actually twist like so, and it'll actually clear those, and you'll be able to get it out without any issues. Once you remove the lower push starts on the passenger side, you'll be able to pry this up just a bit and be able to get to all of the push starts on this heat shield piece. Okay, this is the old part, and you really can't tell by looking at it, but this is almost like a paper covered tinfoil like material. It bends. It's just like cardboard. It's got wet a few times from washing, and I'm sure it blocked heat, but it's not an ideal part. A little bit of deformities in it from just touching it. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to bend it. I can just take my finger and just gently push. You can kind of get a picture of what it is. It almost feels like you know, cardboard aluminized ducting. So let's take a look and see what this was actually protecting us against. If you look here, that is actually where the headers are coming up out of the engine. It's really close to the this rear panel. I've really liked it on cool days. I mean, this thing will really keep you warm, but as summer gets closer and it gets hotter, I think I'm really going to like the other heat shield a little bit better. Let's take a look at it. Okay, this is the new heat shield. It's a similar material. It's a bit thicker, more aggressive pattern. It's heavier. and it may still be a paper material inside, but they've actually sealed the edge up on this. There's no exposed edge. All of them are rolled. I can't really deform this one by pressing on it. It's a lot stiffer material. And overall, that should keep more air between the hot parts and the cold parts, and be a better insulator. This here's just for comparison. This is the new part, and this is the old part, and it's a bit bigger. Like I say, this is really flexible material. This moves a lot. I don't know how much is insulating and how much is just paper. Well, this actually feels like an engineered insulator, and it's very stiff, and it's got a lot more dimpled area. And voila, the new heat shield's installed. One thing I wanted to note is you're putting the panel back. Make sure that you get that lip underneath this heat panel. This appears to be a similar material as the new one that we just put on, but I did notice, I mean, you really have to be careful, especially if you're ever removing that panel just for general maintenance. Make sure that you get this lip underneath this section. I didn't really have any trouble, but if you just tried to, you know, smash it together really quickly and not paying any attention, you could actually get this and get it bent up. But it went in really well. Polaris provided 4 new push pins, and one heat shield's installed. We're on to actually unloosening the bed. All of the rear bolts, I think there's 16 total bolts that you end up having to take out, and most of those are like located places like here and here. There is a set of bolts behind this vent. This is a T25 bolt, and you basically take this vent cover out, and there's a bolt behind there. One thing that I didn't realize till I took this top off, I was always real scared of getting water in these vents, but as you can see, they're not actually connected. There's covers over all the vents. So just wanted to note that if you're thinking like I did that water would go in here and go directly down into the CVT housing or something like that, that's not the case. Both of these are well disconnected from the actual air inlets to everything. Now's a really good time to inspect everything if you haven't done so. Okay, the bed's loose now. Pulls up. One thing I didn't take the bed all the way out, but you would definitely have to take off this side piece, and it actually goes in through this vent. One thing that you have to do is you actually have to take this tie down bracket out, and it's not really obvious where they're talking about, but there's several tie down brackets, but the one they're talking about is the one up front here on the passenger side next to the air cleaner. And the way you get to that is just take an extension and a 13mm socket, and you can remove this bolt, which will let this tie down come out. And there's actually a tang on the lower side that you have to bend out. I guess that protrudes through the heat shield. And this is the tie down bracket taken out. And you can see there's a little tang here, and they want you to bend that out straight where it doesn't protrude down. And this is a modified tie down. They want it flush with the bottom. This took, I don't know, 15 seconds in a vise. And now we're ready to start reassembling. Okay, we've got our old heat shield off. Pretty much looks like the same material. Maybe a slight thickness difference. This part is definitely heavier and bigger. Just to kind of give you a size comparison. It's bigger. There are only 4 screws that hold this on. If you have some really fancy tools, I've got some right angle Torx bits. If not, you'll want to actually push the bed up a bit to get these 4 screws out. One thing I wanted to note on the automotive fasteners, one thing I had issues with, if you look here, there's, you know, standard automotive clips. A lot of these on my Polaris at least, and ones that I've owned in the past, a lot of them are just I mean, they must have just reached up and held them, because they're not really, they're supposed to be springs, which, you know, close up and stay where they're put. But I've had probably 4 after taking the screw out that have just fell. One item to note, if one of these falls up here, generally it will actually fall where you can still get to it down here, just below the seat belt. But while you're at it, just go ahead and put those in the clamp and tighten them up a bit. Don't make them touch each other, but make them to where whenever they pop, that you can still get it on, but whenever they pop in the hole, they stay good and centered, and that'll just prevent you from having any issues later. Again, that may be, you know, the way that it was put together. It could also be the torque from the actual screw. Once it's tightened, it could, you know, change the spring a bit. But it's something I went through all the ones that I had issues with and I fixed. That way I won't have any problems with reassembly. Well, that's pretty much it. Getting ready to button this up. You can see the new heat shield actually has I guess a drip pan, and actually will let it exhaust the liquids out away from the exhaust, which is actually over here, which is better. Can't complain. I think I got the recall notice. Maybe it's been less than 30 days, which is pretty spectacular considering they had to source all these parts and get them out to everybody. So kudos to Polaris for sending out the parts quickly. I've been really happy with the machine. I haven't had any issues other than I have set a gas can back here once. I had an 800S before this and didn't have any problems. I just don't recommend. This is a high performance machine. There's a lot of heat back here. You know, keeping a gas can in the bed area or anywhere around, especially behind the seat, is probably a bad idea. You know, find somewhere else to put it, either up here out in open air. You know, anytime you're carrying fuel, that's a potential fire hazard. It's just best not to do it if you can. If you have to have fuel with you, I would recommend putting it somewhere safe, far away from the engine, for sure. Hope you liked the video. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. I've done this several times on several machines. The 1000S, this takes about, the first time, probably about an hour and 15 minutes. It's not too bad. The biggest problems that you'll have are, again, the automotive clips. Make sure when you find one that's loose, fix it immediately. That way the assembly goes back a lot quicker. Everything just kind of fits. Another issue is, you know, those falling off down into somewhere you can't get to real easy. And the only real issues I've had is, like I say, it will fall down into the seat belt area, down in that well, and it's really easy to get to. Anyway, hope you liked the video. Thanks.